Hello Pisces, and welcome to Mind, Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the month of October 2019 for Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising signs. So it's a general reading. If it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, then it's just not your reading. Do not try to fit it in. Use your own intuition to understand messages and the way they apply to your story, and let the rest go. All right, my dears, do check out also what's your, if for example, if Pisces is your moon, your sun, do check out what's your moon sign and what's your rising sign reading. This is a 7 of Wands as your current energy. All right, Pisces. What's going on with Pisces? So this is your challenge. 7 of Cups. Page of Wands being your focus. The Fool being your advice. Queen of Pentacles being your future energy. And bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Cups as your underlying energy. Alright, before we get into the story, I'm just going to put out the clarifiers. But I can tell you already that Six of Cups being your underlying energy, like the theme of your reading, this reading can go towards making peace with your past, and yes, your lead turn. Okay, so we have the 4 of Wands with the 7 of Wands as your current energy. All right. We have the Knight of Pentacles with the 7 of Cups as your challenge. We have the Wheel of Fortune with the Page of Wands as your focus. We have the 3 of Cups with the Fool as your advice. And we have the King of Cups with the Queen of Pentacles as your future energy. And we have the Page of Cups with the Six of Cups as your underlying energy. So the theme of your reading. This is what you're working through, and this is how you're going to do it. All right, so the Six of Cups with the Page of Cups. Page of Cups talks about making contact with your subconscious, understanding your emotions. It's the pages are messengers, but they're also agents of transformation. So because they're like kids growing up. So it's like, look at how your emotional body grew naturally based on your childhood environment. And you will understand much more about the emotional baggage that you're carrying, and also the emotions that you can be addicted to. We get addicted to our emotions, positive or negative, and we get addicted to hormones. So, we feel a certain way. We are maybe used to grow up in fear, maybe some of us. And then we put ourselves in situations that are familiar and create that type of fear. Because when I feel fear, my body also secretes hormones, like my nervous system gets always activated, and it's going into either flight, either fight response, or in freeze response, which is funny. I just had a dream last night that I went into freeze response because there was a thief in my house, and I saw the door just closing after him as he was leaving, or her, I don't know. But the point is that I wanted to go look who it was, but I was completely frozen, and I felt the hormones being secreted in my body, even though it was just a dream. Anyhow, the point is that we can get addicted to certain hormones and certain emotions that come from our childhood environment. And then when we ask ourselves, why am I putting myself in these situations? Or how am I always attracting this type of situations? Look what type of childhood you had and the type of emotions and the type of hormones, like the state of being. Were you always agitated? Were you always anxious? Were you towards the bully? Were you the bullied? What became familiar? And you'll see that some patterns, though transformed in times to some of us, because we are maybe noticing these things early on, they don't just disappear. They simply transform a little bit and they put a better mask. But trace it down for your own good because it's helping you, freeing yourself from your emotion. It's a good time to do some maybe EFT practice, emotional freedom techniques, the tapping, or maybe if you have a trusted counselor or psychologist, do some hypnosis, or simply be with yourself, do some inner child work. Yeah, I think it would really, really benefit you at this point in time. And even if you had a happy childhood, like let's not say that everybody had grew up in fear or in a an environment that's been necessarily negative, but still maybe some of us have been overprotected maybe, and we are so used to the protection and care of the household that we're terrified to go outside and we don't trust the world, or whatever scenario applies to you, there's gold in literally going back there and noticing, I don't know, tensions that maybe you have had with your parents, or tensions between your parents. I actually met someone whose parents were so in love her whole life that she could never really beat that. She felt like this is the only way I can see love. And if I don't have that, like that type of love that her parents had, then that's not love. So she felt literally intimidated by the relationships that the parents had. Yeah, that's another way to look at, not necessarily a way to look at it, but just look back and see what's really happening, and you will see what is the status quo of your emotional body and the way you process your emotions. I'm actually having my morning coffee with you guys, so I'm really enjoying this, having this chat with you. Okay. So we have the Seven of Wands with the Four of Wands as your current energy. And maybe in this process of looking into your past, you can become sometimes defensive. You will feel the need to stand your ground and defend the way you act or react, and defend what's your idea of the perfect home, what's your idea of the supportive and perfect home. And it may be exactly what you experienced as a child, and that might be your this ideal that you follow and trying to build for yourself in this life, like in your adult life. And maybe you're already building it if you have your I don't know, husband and children and whatever, or wife and children and whatever, like the point is that somehow your idea of what a perfect home is or should be might feel challenged. And it's okay to look at it. It's okay to understand, okay, I'm being challenged right now. Sometimes it's actually very healthy to be a little bit challenged. Through this challenge, there's always growth. See, these guys like standing here on the top of the cliff and staying in this very defensive position. And these ones come as they look aggressive in a sense, right? But with each and every one, there's leaves on on the ones, and that symbolizes growth. So yeah, if you're being challenged in a sense or another, or if you're asking yourself these questions, if you are just being inquisitive and start challenging your own ideals and concepts and preconceptions, it is very healthy. Not to say that everything is wrong that you believe, that maybe some things you've been holding from a naive childlike mentality, and you can reprocess and maybe adapt to you who you are today, or we can radically transform the whole concept of a perfect household, or it can just be reinforced. Okay, um, my initial concept is actually still standing its ground. It still works for me, and that's what I'm gonna go for, or that's what I'm going to implement into my adult life. I hope that makes sense to you. And talking about emotional baggage, here we are with the Seven of Cups. I don't know why I always have this difficulty to say Seven of Cups, cups. With the Seven of Cups, what we do is really looking at our emotion. What do we hold as the framework of emotions? What are the typical emotions that I turn to? It's taking stock of what you've been carrying and what's in front of you, and feeling through them and realizing what's good for you and what isn't. What are the emotions that maybe are an inheritance? You inherited them from your very early version of yourself, or from your parents, there's this whole thing that when the parents are used to a certain type of emotions and to a certain type of stress or of um, mm, responses, they give that to us, right? Because they are our model of, they are our universe when we are really way too young or innocent to make a difference. So we just take these models from them. I don't have any filters, but now it's time to start filtering them up. And like with the Knight of Pentacles here, it tells me that this is going to um bring some real growth for you. It's going to be a slow process. It's going to take time. It's going to feel maybe heavy, but it is important for you to do it. And it may feel, yeah, challenging. It is challenging. This is not something easy to be done, especially if your childhood had been a bit more rough. It's really, really difficult to really taste and feel through each and every emotional response that you habitually carry with you. But the point is that feeling through is what releases them. We tend, like the way trauma generally works is that it literally blocks access to that part of ourselves that had been traumatized, that the child that experienced something, I don't know, rejection, abandonment, abuse of some sort, neglect, uh, mm, that part of us, it's so hurt, it hurts so much that our brain completely separates it. We can maybe be aware of the memory of it, but we don't feel the feelings from it. We normalize it in a certain way, or we blur it, so we can't really remember it. So and that's normal behavior of the brain trying to protect us. But at the same time, through this separation, we also carry this as a wound that we don't have access to, and we can't really feel it. And the point is that as we start becoming aware that we carry this type of stuff, we are like, maybe it's difficult for us to go in there and start feeling. Because first of all, we may not have direct access, the brain is still putting those barriers, or we just don't want to feel that shit. It really really hurts, but that hurt as being released and accepted in a sense is what really enables you for steady growth. It's enabling you to really free yourself. This is like really emotional freedom, making space for something new and having like this discernment a little bit of what direction I'm going to. This Knight of Pentacles is the slowest of the knights, is an agent of expansion, right? But this one is like taking his time. He wants to make sure that where he's going is the right place. So he's like testing the ground, he's looking around, he's not going there like charging into battle. He's a cautious knight, and do this cautiously as well. Don't dive into your darkest emotions now in the hope that you will be forever released. This is not something that's done in one session, whatever that is, whether it's a session of healing with a healer, or whether it's 1 2 sessions of therapy, or art therapy, or whatever it is that you do. Child work, this is not going to work through one session. It's not like, okay, I'm doing diving deep now and it's gone. No, this is steady, slowly, cautiously going in there with being aware that you may do maybe stuff like EMDR, which is another therapy that helps reprocessing trauma. Do it in a cautious way. Don't go there by yourself with no safety nets, because those barriers that your mind put them for a reason. That this is dissociation from your emotions happened for a reason. But at the same time, it's crazy how we literally get addicted to the same type of emotions. Not the ones that had been like the darkest points, but the ones like bordering them, because that's still the familiar. So it's a very healthy work to do, but do it cautiously and slowly. And your focus being the Page of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. The Page of Wands talks again transformation. These are agents of transformation, and you're transforming your spiritual beliefs. You start understanding a little bit more about how everything works. And like this guy stays in the desert here, and there's the desert, like his environment is not exactly nurturing, but he starts understanding that, you see, this staff that he's holding again holds leaves. He understands the power that this has. He understands that this is almost like that this doesn't seem natural, that this grows in such a adverse environment, and yet he learns about that. He starts learning about maybe more subtle aspects of the life. And with the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune talks about real change and expansion. It's run by Jupiter. This is Jupiter in expansion. And it talks about good luck and fortune and so on, but it also talks about change. It tells us that what comes down will go up, and what goes up will go down. This is like the card that reminds us of what the Buddhists call impermanence. Everything is impermanent. This is the only constant. We need to understand that in order to grow and to transform, change is needed. And we all have some type of resistance to change. Even those that crave change have a resistance to change. But being your focus, maybe you started realizing that this change is necessary, and that it's good for you and will allow you to grow and will allow you to mature and grow towards expansion. That what comes after the pages are the knights, and they grow. They expand the realms of the your kingdom, and then it turns into the higher court cards, which means stability and maturity, mastery. As you advise, you have the Fool with the Three of Cups. And yeah, the Fool is a very good advice for all of us, to be honest, is to get back into that beginner's mind a little bit, into that child's mind without the conditioning, and simply experience life from our senses. See, he's like not even looking where he's going, but he has this leap of faith because he trusts that he's being protected. The dog here is his guardian. He protects him. He tells him, like, he barks if there's something really wrong. He will like grab his leg and whatever. It's like it acts like a guardian. And when it comes to advice, it tells you to trust your senses more, to let go of the mind and let go of the concepts that you may have about the world, what constitutes a good life, or what are the, like, check with your models for life, for household, for family, for friendships. Um, Trust a little bit in your own inner wisdom and the innocence. Experience again the things from the child's mind, from the child's eye. How does it feel to look at things for the first time again? When we walk on the street, we don't look at things anymore. We just check if they're there. We know what a tree looks like, we know what a bird looks like, but we're not really looking at them anymore. We're not contemplating them. We're not seeing, we're not really feeling. If we're eating an ice cream, we have an expected, um, we expect it will taste like this. We have expectations of life and imagery and tastes and sensations. There's nothing takes us by surprise anymore. But it is important to reset that a little bit and go and experience things from the present moment, from your senses. Go experience life through your senses. Feel how the sun really feels on your skin. Really feel the taste of your food. Feel through your muscles as they move when you walk. Feel how it feels for your feet to actually touch the ground every time you step on the ground. How does the ground feel under you? Is it like, I don't know, when you walk on asphalt, it feels in a certain way. When you walk on pebbles, it feels in a different way. When you walk on grass, it feels in a very different way. Start feeling through that incense without expectations, and just allow yourself to be surprised by the beauty of the world and by the beauty of relationships. Do the same with your relationships. Don't go in there with expectations. And Pisces, you can really connect. You can really, you hold a little bit of all the signs within you. So in a way, you can emulate them. You can adapt to each and every one person and connect to them on their basis, on their terms, because you understand that you're the empath. You very watery. And the Three of Cups talks about um, friendships and celebrations and connections, but soul family connection. Um, Maybe it's important for you to have the same attitude. Like, just don't expect anything. Do not try to please. Do not try to act as is expected of you, or simply experience, have an experience of your friends. Go out there and don't think, okay, I'm going to meet Martha tomorrow, so I'm going to talk to Martha because in the way that I know Martha is. How about you just go out there and look at her as if you see her for the first time, or him, or whoever, it's just an example. It's a very interesting experience when we stop putting what we expect of a person on a person, and we won't assume that we actually understand and know them all that well. We suddenly become curious. We learn so much more. We have this new enthusiasm about experiencing our friends as they are, what they say, how do they act, how do they smile. Feel through that. It's beautiful. And this will really help you also truly connect in these type of times where when you're doing some deep work, experience this and share it with your friends. Your friends can benefit from the work that you're doing in a sense. We don't necessarily mean that now we only talk about this, but sometimes it's really hard to share what we're going through, and it's important to share with your support group, with your soul family. And they can play that supportive role that you very, very much need right now, but also they can learn from it. They can get inspired by it. They can understand more things about themselves and their own journey as you share, and may encourage them to share as well. You can experience that as well, like through their own sharing. What is it that they have been through? Okay. And then you have as your future energy the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups. So, what was I saying about these, the kings and queens, their mastery? The Queen of Pentacles talks about fully like being nurturing and caring and connected to the earth and the cycles of the earth, being very, prosperity and practical and abundance. It's the card of abundance. And the King of Cups talks about um that emotional freedom that we talked about. See, he's like the water in tarot symbolizes emotions, and his throne is floating on this rather agitated sea, or there's ships behind here. The ships symbolize that there's support. But the King of Cups is somebody who mastered his emotions. He doesn't need to control them into the sense that I deny them, I push them away. He feels everything, but he doesn't necessarily need to express it all the time. Sometimes we feel the most absurd things, or sometimes we feel things that are completely disconnected from the situation right now. Say I just meet a person now, and this person here reminds me somehow of my mom. I'm not really reacting to the person. What I'm reacting to is the memory of my mom and how that made me feel. These emotions do not concern the person in front of me. I don't even know who that person is. This may be just a very superficial thing, like a twitch of the mouth or something like that. I don't understand anything about this person. But if I allow my triggers and my emotional baggage to influence me, I won't be able to ever know this person. Therefore, I can feel this stuff, let them go, not take them as the authority on me. Don't take it, rationalize it as intuition. Oh, if this person makes me feel like this, it must be a bad person. That's not usually the truth. Not when we come from this place of emotional baggage. Of course, if the person is not acting right, no, bad behavior is bad behavior, remove yourself from any type of situation or connection with that person. But when we meet someone and they just remind us of someone, and we react based on this to this person, we like personify it with the other one, doesn't make any sense. And we lose the opportunity to actually get to know this person, the new person in our life. So this is what the King of Cups does. He feels through, and he doesn't need to communicate each and every emotion that comes into. And I don't need to announce you that you remind me of my mom. It's okay. I'll feel through, and I will communicate whatever it's really relevant in this story. When I get to actually have something to tell you, when I develop some emotional response or some emotional connection to you and who you are and not who you remind me of. And the King of Cups also sometimes can feel like a little bit empty of emotions, but he just emotions when he never is. He really feels everything. He just needs to communicate them when it's makes sense. If your father or mother and your kid is going to school and you're really really stressed about, oh my god, he's going to be bullied, it's going to be how's the child going to do, it doesn't help to express all that anxiety because you're putting it on the child. Okay, sacred convergence number 11 as your spirit message, and here's a beautiful moon here, and this looks like lake, but let's read a little bit. Don't have much time. Number 11. All right, so that's a long poem. Roaming about town. This is like a poem from Rumi. Roaming about town, the master was holding a light, saying, "I am weary of the demons and the beasts. A human is what I'm longing for. The human cannot be found. We have searched. What cannot be found is what I am longing for. Although poor and needy, I will not accept small pieces of ruby. The mine of the finest rubies is what I am longing for. One hand holding a cup of wine and the other the curls of the beloved, a dance like this in the middle of the circle is what I'm longing for." Okay, so sacred convergence indicates a coming together of souls in alignment with a greater cause. There we go with this Three of Cups here. That's what I getting the feeling of. I didn't want to make this video so long, but I feel like it makes sense to read a little bit more about this. This greater cause is both personal and impersonal. There is an aspect of joining together for a common purpose, although that purpose may not be immediately obvious at the level of day-to-day consciousness. That common soul purpose may be to lift each other into greater love and self-belief, to shed fear and open the heart, filling in each individual soul with more holy fire for its personal passionate purpose. I see figures of people here everywhere. Whatever you see. Okay. You'll feel empowered to step forward on your path and love yourself with less conditions. You'll become freer to shed your fears. Yes. Relationship based in fear and judgment, and open up to those more loving, responsible, and inspiring to continue on your personal journey in increasingly profound ways. So this sacred convergence, this coming together of two souls in order to grow bigger, and to bring us actually closer to ourselves. It doesn't necessarily need to be a romantic relationship. It can be, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a perfect romantic relationship. So it's not gonna look like in the movies. um, it may really, like when we learn these lessons from people of how to love ourselves more, they usually come from not just being given on a tray everything that we want for, but we are put in the position, yeah, maybe there's support, there's like respect and all that, but there's also space for you to do your own processing. This oracle comes with a special message. Perhaps you have been thinking about shedding lower vibrational connections based on in the ego world of power games, sabotage, manipulation, and fear. Perhaps you have already begun this process or even shed so many you are fearing you might have overpruned to be felt left with nothing and no one. Do not fear. Your truth is prevailing. You cannot stay in a vibration of fear if you want to dwell in a vibration of love. Whilst you learn to sustain that vibration within you until it cannot be rattled by any crisis or demand, you are wise to place yourself in more nourishing connections. That's the connections you want to be in. If you want to plan to grow, why not give it the best soil and condition in which to do so? Certainly, the plant of love can and will grow in the most inhospitable conditions, but it can be rather more joyful to grow in gentler, more nourishing conditions if possible. This oracle comes to you with guidance that the possibility for more joyful relationships and growth of love within is in your power. You can choose each day, each moment, just make a choice. Trust yourself, your discernment, and your intuition and choose. You do not owe anyone anything. Okay, my darlings. So, yeah, shedding that emotional baggage that you're carrying, feeling through the emotions that you want to feel, and don't stop putting yourself in the situation that challenge you in that sense, like always bring you the same type of ego-based relationships and so on and so on. And this really, really comes with the promise that as you grow closer to yourself, you will also be surrounded by the people that vibrate at the same frequency, the one of love, and not the one of envy, hatred, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, my darlings, I hope this makes sense to you. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you here next time.